Hey everybody, what's going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you. So this one's going to be a little bit different. Rather than showing off gameplay, this is going to be a bit more of an opinion piece. So I have had a lot of requests lately, not a lot, but some, to cover the latest event in Master Duel. This one here, actually, the Attribute 4 event. I had a couple people in the comments and over on my Patreon asking, like, oh, will you be showing gameplay for the event? Are you excited for it? What decks are you going to play for it? And initially, when I saw this announced, I had like a little glimmer of like, yeah, this might be nice to shake things up a little bit. But quickly after starting to play the event, I realized I feel the same about this event that I have actually about a lot of these Master Duel events, especially in the last few months. They suck. So that's going to kind of be the crux of this video here. I don't know about you all, but I found my time in the Attribute 4 event to be a complete and total snooze fest, and I have played quite a bit in it, as I'll show you from my rewards here. I'm really just waiting to rock out these last few for them to release more, like, missions and stuff, right? But I honestly have not enjoyed this event. I think it's really boring, and I think that's been true of the last quite a few Master Duel events, honestly. The reason I didn't like this one was, a reason I don't like a lot of them, is that the prompt was not interesting enough. No light and dark monsters is not an engaging deck building prompt, right? This is one of those prompts, like many of these, where you just end up asking yourself, like, okay, so what already competitive deck is most viable, like with the least number of changes required under these circumstances? For me, that was Tri-Brigade Leerlusk. For those who are wondering what I did end up using, this was the Tri-Brigade Leerlusk deck that I used. I've seen a going second, like OTK style build floating around. This one is just generally more consistent. Like, obviously you have more plays in general, and you still have the ability to OTK under certain circumstances. It's usually not that difficult. And then your turn 1 inboard is looking like something like Appaloosa, Simorg, and then Ensemble Robin with, of course, the Apex Avian that Simorg is turboing out, right? But I just didn't have fun with this. I'm not gonna lie. I just did not have fun playing this deck and playing in this event. And like I said, that's been true of quite a few of Master Duel's events. You might have noticed that I really haven't like uploaded event gameplay on the channel for quite a while now. And I actually wanted to go over here to a list of Master Duel events. This one actually isn't complete because, unfortunately, Wikipedia is still recovering from their data loss. Definitely make sure to help them out with that if at all possible. Wikipedia is a great site, but in any case, yeah, I was like, let me look up a list of events that we've had in Master Duel and see what good ones we've had. There are a couple missing here, like I know the story, or no, what was it, Legends Anthology. That one's not listed here, but I think that's the only major one that's missing. And when looking at this list, I think we've had exactly 2 good events, honestly. I don't really count Duelist Cups because that's like obviously its own thing, but as far as like events that have different deck building prompts, we've had exactly 2 good events, in my opinion. We've had the NR Rarity Festival and Limit 1 Festival. All the rest of these were like complete snooze fests. They were not interesting, they were not fun, and they were frankly just boring, right? Xyz Festival was our first one, right? And that was exciting initially just because it was the first one, but it became apparent pretty quickly, if you weren't doing self-OTK stuff, that Zodiac was just like the best deck. And that kind of stemmed from Tri-Brigade Zodiac being very, very popular at the time. People just were like, oh, well, we can just take out the Link stuff, the Tri-Brigade stuff, and Zodiacs are actually still pretty good. I know some people had like some amount of success with stuff like Super Quant, but I don't know, from what I recall anyway, in my experience, it was just a matter of like, let's look at meta decks, let's see what's most viable under this prompt, and then play it. And that really is the case for a lot of these, like with Synchro Festival. Sword Souls weren't out yet, otherwise they would have just far and away dominated this event, but it was Adamancipator. Adamancipator was already a very competitive deck. It was the most viable under the circumstances, and that was what was played. It was this exact same story with the Anti-Spell Festival, once again being Adamancipator. We just looked at what deck is already competitive and really doesn't play spells. Adamance, cool, we'll just play that, and then we'll go figure that ended up being the best deck. Fusion Festival was a little more interesting, I guess, because a lot of branded stuff wasn't out yet, like Branded Fusion wasn't out yet, but, I mean, it was always going to be Alistair and or Despia. Some combination of those were always going to be the best decks there. And really, like, we haven't seen a revisit to Synchro or Fusion for, I think, the exact reasons I just mentioned. Like, if you look at the dates these events dropped, it was, I think, very intentionally just before Sword Soul came out, because obviously Sword Soul is just going to be the best deck in a Synchro festival, and just before Brain Fusion and etc. came out, because that's obviously going to be the best deck in a Fusion festival, right? That deck already just doesn't... That deck already, like, doesn't really play non-fusion monsters. It sometimes plays, like, Vert Anaconda, but that's about it. So, and you could make the argument, like, well, okay, if they can bring these festivals back, if they adjust the ban list accordingly, but, like, I still don't think that's particularly interesting, honestly. Like, I think the prompt of you only get one extra deck method of summoning is not interesting. It's again, just looking at archetypes and top decks and just seeing what's the best one that can function under the parameters. And you could make the argument that, like, isn't that true of every single deck when you, like, apply, like, certain deck building constraints to it? And the answer is no. And again, we saw in our festival and Limit 1 being prime examples of that. These events both very much challenged what you had to build, because nothing that even resembled any of the current top decks was even remotely viable, right? And I thought that was cool. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, even like some of the more recent events that I see get a lot of praise, I really don't get it. Like Theme Chronicle was one of them. Theme Chronicle was the one where it was only stuff from solo mode. Archetypes in the solo mode gates were what you could use. A lot of people really praise this event. I don't get it. I thought it was ass. I thought it was terrible. Crusadia was exactly the best, like far and away the best deck. Like, I really don't understand that. Like, how people complain about tier limits and how that's a tier 0 format. Crusadia was absolutely, like Theme Chronicle was absolutely a tier 0 format, with Crusadia being the tier 0 deck. But people praise that because, I don't know, I guess because Crusadia doesn't usually get to be the best deck, but I don't think the gimmick of like, oh, this deck that usually isn't good is tier 0 in this specific meta is enough to make that meta interesting or good. And not even close, honestly. Not pictured here is Story Chronicle. That was the one where the only thing that was really legal was like anime decks, and they even banned a lot of hand traps. Like, I think Imperm and Ash were both at 1, Maxi was banned. Valor was the only like relatively popular hand trap that was allowed at 3 because Yusei used it. Again, we had a lot of people praising that event. I hated it. That event was ass. That event was so bad. And the reason that I hated it was because of the lack of hand traps. Honestly, it really was. Because while in theory, you know, a lot of people who are like, you know, more like Yu-Gi boomers are like, yes, it's a return to old Yu-Gi-Oh! One, old Yu-Gi-Oh! Like pre-hand traps was just not that great of a game. Like, let's be real. 2, it really translates, like, when you lack the hand traps but still have a lot of the powerful ability to combo, then really what it turns into is just more of not being able to do anything if you go second, which is another thing I see a lot of people complain about. So I'm really surprised that the Legend Anthology was as popular as it was. It wasn't like the glorious anime fest. I think a lot of people kind of have like rose-tinted glasses as they remember back on it. But in my opinion, it was a lot of just like, oh boy, I went second. Let me watch DDD and Marinesis combo all over me while I'm not able to do anything about it. It just wasn't fun. Synchro and Xyz was not an interesting prompt. It really wasn't. I think if I remember right, it was just like Virtual World ended up being the best deck here. X0, I don't remember like anything about this event, I gotta be honest. But wasn't it just like, what did I even play? Or did I even upload anything for the channel? Let me see if I can find anything about the X0 event. Oh, it was Flandreese. That's why that event was so unmemorable, because Flandreese had just come out, and that was the deck everybody played. It was a tier 0 format, and in fact, my video that I made for it is titled Teching for the Flandreese Mirror Match in the X0 Festival, because that's all that festival was flow mirrors. Yeah, I really think Konami needs to step it up when it comes to these deck prompts. In our festival, Limit 1, these were phenomenal. I guess what I'm really looking for is like, challenge me, Konami. Make me actually build an interesting deck. And again, not just like, oh, here's a deck that was already competitively viable and it most fits within the prompt of this event. I really did not enjoy Attribute 4. Looking back at these other events, I didn't enjoy Theme Chronicle, I didn't enjoy Anti-Spell, I did not enjoy Synchro Xyz, did not enjoy X0, Synchro and Fusion events were pretty mid. Xyz Festival, again, was really only exciting looking back because it was the first one. I think, didn't they do another one and it was super mid? Like, I don't know. There's a reason people clamor for NR Festival all the time, and I don't see as many people talk about Limit 1, but again, I thought Limit 1 was at least more interesting than everything that wasn't in our festival. So, I don't know. Like I said, this is more of an opinion piece. This is also, I guess, a bit of a plea. Like, Konami, can you please make another interesting, I have to emphasize, interesting event? Attribute 4 was not it. It was not it at all. Definitely let me know in the comments below what you all think of not only this festival, but events in general in Master Duel. I am very curious to see if anyone else kind of like shares the same feelings I do, or even if you don't, if you really enjoyed some of the festivals that I said I hated, definitely feel free to let me know in the comments. I'm very interested to hear takes from everyone here. But that's just it. It's going to be a shorter one, just in addition to the daily video. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and move on to our outro. Alright everybody, thank you so much for watching all the way to the very end of the video like this. That means a whole lot to me. Not just personally, but it's also a great way of supporting the channel as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel in other means, you can of course feel free to comment and or subscribe right here on YouTube. I'm always looking to the comments section. You guys leave some pretty awesome feedback as far as like constructive criticism goes when it comes to deck building, gameplay, channel content, all that stuff. So feel free to leave your opinion down there. I will be sure to take a look at that there. And then subscribing is going to be the best way to get notifications of when these videos drop. That does happen every day, by the way, so if you're looking for daily Master Duel content, you've come to the right place. And there are more places where you can get some daily Master Duel content. If you check out the description below, follow the top link over to my Patreon page. There for just $5 a month, which is as much as you pay for a booster pack. You'll find a lot more value than a pack full of filler over there. We've got some previews for content upcoming here on the channel. We've got some exclusive games that are only posted over on Patreon over there. We've got some Q&As, and then you can also have your name featured in this lovely credit sequence where I thank all of the people who are helping contribute over there on Patreon. It's a huge support to the channel, and it really means a lot as well. So thank you everyone who is donating that is featured here on screen. And again, you know, it's not just a pure donation. You do get some more daily Master Duel content over there just for being a part of the Patreon. But I think that's about all the time that I have for today's video. Once again, I just want to thank you so very much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. Again, it just means a lot, as I do put a decent amount of work into getting these videos out every single day. But that's about all the time that I've got for now. So without further ado, this is XLex. I'm signing out, and I hope you have a fantastic day.